This is the KitchensinkWP Podcast, episode 269.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the KitchensinkWP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have a whole bunch of WordCamps next weekend, and actually one midweek, starting off with WordCamp Paris. WordCamp Paris is going to be April 24th through 26th, so that is not on the weekend. Let me just double check here on the calendar. The 24th is Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it looks like that WordPress will be happening over in Paris. And let me close that window. So keep that in mind. It's coming up not on the weekend. WordCamp Bilbao, April 27th to 28th. WordCamp Vienna, April 27th, a single-day camp. Also, WordCamp Buffalo, New York, April 27th. WordCamp Lancaster, April 27th. And last but not least, WordCamp Orange County, California, April 27th to 28th. And OC has a special place in my heart because it's the first WordCamp I ever went to way back when, like 2012, I think. I don't know. And it was awesome. It just was. It was crazy. So, and I've spoken there, and I've cracked ribs on the way there, and a couple years ago, if you recall that. And there's a chance I might be there this next week, so I'm trying to work that out on my schedule. So we'll see. If I'm there and I see you, great. If I missed you and I was there, bummer. If I didn't go, sorry. Anyway, so that's it for upcoming events. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. Two things here, both related to WordPress 5.2. In this case, the release has been pushed out a bit. We are now looking at a release for May the 7th. There was some issues with just things not being done in the right time frame for testing, etc. So now we're looking at the RC2 to be released on the 30th of April. RC1 on the 24th of April, and then the release date, May 7th. So that was supposed to come out, I think, the 23rd, like a day after this, sometime this coming week was supposed to be out, but it's been pushed. So there's that. Also in the news, regards to the next release of WordPress, one of the main functions is called Fatal Recovery mode, and apparently there was an article post from Felix Arntz posted about it, and some expectations there. It's kind of a longer technical piece, but it's important for developers. So if you are in the development side of things, definitely take a look at that. Link in the show notes as well. So Felix wrote up a piece there back on April 16th. I'll link to that as well. All right, moving on. Segment 2, the meat potatoes. This week, we're talking about niching, focusing down, if you will. Recently, I was asked for some feedback by a friend of mine who was in a past mastermind that I was in, about feedback, about his decision to narrow his focus. Pick a niche down if you will, or niche, I don't know. Anyway, and to pick a vertical market and to help him focus versus doing projects that span across so many different industries and areas like many of us do, including myself. And I gotta say, I love this idea. I've thought about doing this again, over and over again. Same idea, same thing for a long time as well. My friend Sarah, she did something similar last year. She documented it for wedding professionals, and she's doing well with it as well, and she's killing it there. So after talking to my friend about this for about 30, 40 minutes or so, I thought I'd share some things that I jotted down, things to consider when you're trying to narrow down your focus. Okay, first, a definition or two here. I talk about, or we mentioned in that conversation about picking a niche or a vertical market. So an industry vertical is defined as it's a subset of a broader market which is focused on a specific type of product or service. For example, let's say you took the industry information technology. It's pretty broad, but then the vertical would be, let's say, 3D printing. It's kind of like using categories and tags, if you remember those. We, of course, remember those in the WordPress dashboard. So it's taking, really niching down, picking a vertical, but then a subset of the broader thing. So again, information technology, and then maybe just focusing on people who do 3D printing. Okay, so that kind of thing. So that's part of the struggle. How do you get that far down? How do you really know where to go? So here are 4 items that I think you might want to think about. You, me, we, as we take time to narrow our focus, okay? And then I have a few benefits as well. So 4 items and then 2 benefits in doing this. Number 1, profitability. does the industry in question make money? This is important because they have to have enough income to value your service. You may love what you want to do for them. If you're looking to reach out to nonprofits, and actually a good friend of mine, she is working with nonprofits, but she's working with nonprofits that have a large foothold and a footprint with marketing dollars, etc. So does the industry in question make money? Do they have the money to value your service and the offering and invest in you as a partner as well, right? You need that to work. If you pick a really small niche that you like a lot, but there's no profitability for them, they're not going to be able to afford you, okay? Number two, this kind of ties right into number one, market size and growth. Okay, you want to go into a market where there's enough potential and clients to grow your business. You want to, quote, own the market. It'd be nice if you're the only one. But at the same token, that may not be viable. And if it's such a small market or a new industry, let's say you're going after something really new, they may not have the growth potential that you need to sustain your business, okay? Number three, all these are all tied in together. I really do believe this. So the sales cycle. Okay, certain industries just move slower than others. Higher education is one. I know somebody who's trying to go into higher education for the longest time, and even nonprofits. Again, those overlap a lot. And that sales cycle, although could have money involved, it just takes a long time to get the commitment and get the funds allocated after doing a ton of discovery and a ton of scope, potentially for free. Again, is there is there room there to grow? Okay, so the sales cycle could be really slow, and if you need a way to make money sooner, it may not be the right niche for you. Okay, and number four here, the people. Now this seems weird to say this, but do the players in that industry, in that niche, you have to take it. Do you like them? Seriously, I mean, if you're going to work with them on a consistent basis, it's super important that you can tolerate whatever idiosyncrasies that they may bring to the table. If you don't want to deal with government entities, higher education, lackadaisical reply times, you need to know that up front. You should know that up front. So the people, do you like the players? Do you like the people in the industry itself in question? I think it's important to know that. So again, number one, profitability. Number two, market size and growth. Number three, the sales cycle takes longer for certain areas. And number four, the people. Okay, so those are the four things to consider. The two benefits here. One of the benefits in niching down is that you can actually replicate the process in both sales and in the implementation of the project. Meaning, if it's doable over and over again, it makes it that much faster, right? So that's a huge benefit. And if it's faster, then you become much more profitable. You know what that client needs sooner. And you can then target your marketing. That's the second benefit, is targeting your market that much easier. You know exactly who it is you want to reach versus anyone who needs a website. That is always the big broad brushstroke that we take as agency owners, is I do websites for anybody. And that's always a problem because it takes a lot more time and energy to figure out what they really need, how much time you have to put into it. And of course, it goes back to their sales cycle. Do you like the person? Do you like the people, etc.? So, okay, lastly on this topic, I want to mention the term, quote, decision debt, end quote. And I heard that from Brook Castillo's most recent podcast. And the term indicates not making a decision because we aren't sure if it's the correct one. And as humans, we don't want to be wrong. Having that open thought on our brain, it's an open loop. It taxes us. It uses mental energy. So take a few hours or a day, sketch out where you want to focus based on your criteria or mine or whatever you may find in Google, and make a decision. It may not be the perfect decision for you right now, but it's a decision. And you can always shift and make a pivot later as needed. Okay, so those are things to think about as you're trying to focus down, pick your niche, an industry, a vertical market, any which way you want to word this. Those are some tips I suggest that you take a look at doing. Okay, so there you have it. And I am, by the way, yes, I'm working on figuring this out myself. I am nowhere near where I want to be in that aspect. Right now, we still do websites for many different clients and customer base. So not ideal, but it's work. So it's tough. Anyway, all right, moving on. Segment 3, the tip and tool of the week. This week's tool is DynoMapper. DynoMapper, I like the way I say that. It's a site that lets you map out your websites for sitemaps, clients, data. You can pull a lot of information out of this. There is a fee. There's a 2-week trial. I used this most recently to give a sitemap to a client who has a ton of pages. They want to start culling down all their old content and fixing it. So check it out. It's over at DynoMapper.com, if I'm not mistaken. So check that out. All right. I have no connection to them except that I just used it. I thought it was really cool. You can export as a PDF. You can share an XML file. You can export as a HTML file, etc. So pretty cool. All right. That is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email. I'm adam@KitchensinkWP.com. or use that SpeakPipe function on the website. Would love to have your questions. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, link on the site, as well as sponsorship as well. Thanks for listening. Go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. We'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.